Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, live on WBON-TV Channel 9 and on radio at V99.3, Sports Radio 103.5 and Y92.5. Support your favorite local teams and enjoy the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Also brought to you by Bishop Small Engine Repair, Nuevo Vallarta, and the law offices of Patrick O'Neill. Now let's go live to your hosts, Michael Watkins and Samantha Burford.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Michael Watkins here with you on a Monday night. His show is in studio this evening, and we've got Ace Carmichael here with us from Appalachian Mountain Wrestling. Of course, you can catch their shows weekly from 6 to 7 every Wednesday night here on WBON-TV Channel 9. So be sure to check that out. And a big show coming up this weekend, Ace. Back in your hometown once again. We had you guys on a few months ago when you had the show over in Irvine, right around the beginning of football season, I believe.
Yeah.
And you're back here this weekend with Off the Rails. The show this weekend going to be a big deal.
That's right. We're putting on another fundraiser for the Estill County High School football team. Appalachian Mountain Wrestling is going to come in there and put on a great show and raise some money for the community. So
you guys have had some big names, and I know whenever the new season started, we've had I think this past show we had Jay Lethal involved. The Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows were there for a couple of episodes. You had Rhino, I believe, involved.
We had Jeff Jarrett in February.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Jeff
Scott
Jarrett.
Steiner back in October, I believe. So, yeah.
So, some big names. And you've got to kind of rub elbows with some of these guys, right?
I do. I hope I don't aggravate those guys too much because when I'm in the back, I'm just like, hey, guys, what's going on? Can I ask you for some advice and stuff? So, it's always good to get out there and get to talk to people who's been where you want to be.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're used to that, though. Like, being asked questions about how do I get here and that type of thing and the career path that they've taken. Because, I mean, some of those guys have fought overseas. They fought in Japan and do some things over there. So it's got to be cool for you to be able to see some of the faces that you and I grew up watching, and now you get to compete against them, with them in the ring, and get to chat with them.
Exactly. It's like we literally shared a locker room with the Good Brothers, and then the very next night on Monday Night Raw, they're on Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, that's really cool. And then you got people like Jeff Jarrett, who's literally been doing this for 4 decades.
Yeah.
And, like, the only job he's ever had was professional wrestling, and then you get to pick his mind, and it's just it's awesome.
Well, you all have had some really fun shows over the last few weeks. Again, you can watch it. You can see right here on WBON-TV. It's AMW Showdown. This was part of the Rumble that you guys had.
Good-looking guy right there.
The ratings are going to go down with you on the screen.
Oh, man.
But this is the Rumble that you guys had, and kind of cool to see all the guys in the ring at the same time. Some big names of Marcus Johnson, the Kentucky champions in there. But when you are out there and you go to one of these shows, especially the one in your hometown, we'll talk more about it coming up here in a second, but what is it like? I mean, you've been played quarterback at Estill County. You didn't get to throw the ball a whole lot back then, but you got to be a football player.
We still won a lot.
You did. Great basketball player, but is it the same type of adrenaline rush running down to the ring as you had when you played sports?
It's a way more adrenaline rush playing sports, because when you're out there with sports, you have your buddies, you have a team, and it's just like not all the pressure is on you. When you go out there, it is you. You are the star. The spotlight is 100% on you. Everyone, see, like right here with me and Murphy, everyone's just watching me and Murphy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more anxiety and pressure and nerves that goes into it, but it's also a way bigger payoff, because at the end of the day, when things go great, you're like, I did that. Yeah. That's me. So yeah, it's a totally different atmosphere too.
When you look at the last time you were in Irvine, you faced Stan Sierra for the title that he held. Does he still hold that same title?
He still holds the New South Heavyweight Championship, yeah.
So talk about that. And I know my kids were there watching you. They still today. I told Reagan, I was like, hey, I'm going to go interview Ace tonight, and she was like, can you get his autograph? And I was like, I'll ask him. He might charge too much, though. I know how he is.
For her.
But when you are out there and like you look back at that show, what was it like wrestling in front of your hometown crowd for the first time?
Well, I mean, to me, it was one of those core memories I'll remember forever. Of course, I've made so many memories in that gym playing basketball, but just like I said, you're out there and it's just you. And to look out there, and like we sold a bunch of tickets. I believe we sold as many pre-sale tickets for that show as we did for Carlito in Lexington a couple of weeks before that. So it was a big deal. But then once I got in there and I noticed, well, there's like in Estill County High School gym, there's the floor seats that go up, and then there's a whole nother level. Yeah. They had to open up that whole nother level because we'd sold so many tickets. So just to see, and it's just like, that's my hometown, that's my community coming out to support me. And like, we had a great time. And one thing that I tell everybody, like nowadays you go to these things and it's like kids are out having fun and then mom and dad's kind of like on their phone just scrolling. No, like you can look back at the pictures. There's not anyone who's just sitting. Everyone's engaged, and it was awesome. So it was a great feeling. And like, I don't know, I'd put that over like anything I ever done on a basketball court, to be honest. So I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
They put winning the titles over at the Powell County with
because
the Summer League titles we used to win?
Okay. I mean, absolutely, it's close.
Church League,
it's close. Rec League, it's absolutely it's close, but yeah.
Well, when you look back, was that the first time you fought for a title? When you fought Stan? And Stan's a legend too. I mean, he's been around for a while.
Stan is the man. Like him, love him, hate him. He's the man.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why he's still got that belt. It's because even when you have him down, he finds a way. By hook, by crook, he'll find a way to get it done. But yeah, he's still got it. And I don't think Cash is going to be taking him on for the belt, but maybe he can, get over on him and get the win for the good guys.
There you go. Well, and I feel like if you win that, if you beat him if you beat him in a match that does it, that's not for the title, title's not on the line, then he probably deserves one down the line for a title shot.
Whenever I took on Stan, that was my first chance at some gold, and came up short, but really I had him, I mean, everyone there seen I had him beat physically, and they had distractions with his buddy out there. Murphy Costigan was out there, and of course,
maybe you need a manager.
Maybe I need somebody to watch my back. Definitely,
we can talk about that. I might be available. When you look at this show coming up this weekend, now the last time we had you guys on, the Wes Barker. He was one of the faces. He was a good guy, and over the last couple of weeks, we know he turned heel and went against Marty Clay, who they're family, and right here you can see it. This is the heel turn.
Yeah, boot to the face.
But the gold does that to somebody.
Greed,
especially when it's in the same house with you.
Greed will turn a man against his family. That's 100% true.
Well, there's the heel turn again. You can watch the show AMW Showdown on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7, WBON-TV. Talk about this weekend. It's a big show. You talked about who you're going to be facing and what that could do as you kind of build these storylines down the line, but some of the other matches that fans will see when they come out this weekend as well.
Okay, so this weekend in Irving, Kentucky, we obviously have myself against that no-good Canadian prospector, Wes Barker. I hope I leave enough on the bone for Marty. Speaking of Marty, he's got a match against Lord Murphy Costigan. Okay. It's not for Marty's belt, but it will be a heck of a fight, a slobber knocker. You got Marvelous Marcus Johnson. He's taking on one half of the Heat Seekers, Elliott Russell. That'll be a good match. All these matches are great. We have Chase Emery against Michael Zodiac. Okay. We have my buddy Cash Atkins, little brother of mine. He's going to step up to the plate. He's going to take on Stan Sierra. And then there's many, many more. I feel like I'm forgetting, but at AMW show, there's always so much like action packed that it's kind of hard to remember everyone who's on the card.
Well, we'll have the card posted up for you too. I know Kyle's been with the Facebook and everything. You can go over to right now Appalachian Mountain Wrestling on Facebook. See the event coming up this weekend. It's off the rails. Over there in Irving, Kentucky. Showtime, bell time.
Doors open at 6. Show starts from 7. They're usually about a 2-hour show. You can get on the Facebook. There's a link there where you can order tickets. I still got a couple in hand.
You're going to be around some of the schools this weekend too, right?
Yeah. This week I'll be in all the schools in Estill County. Wednesday I'll be at West Irvin Elementary eating lunch. Thursday I'll be at Estill Springs eating lunch, and then Thursday and Friday Marty's going to be there, and we're both going to be going to either the middle school and the high school. Okay. But you can also get on amwrestling.com.
Now those are just for students, though, right?
Yes, the tickets at school are just strictly for students. It's a discount ticket. It's $7 there. I believe they're 12 or 13 or something at the gate. So
and listen, folks, if you come out to one of these shows, it's always a good time. Family friendly. You can come out. I mean. And we went and watched, like I said, the kids were at the show the last time you all were in Irving, but Becca and I just went to SmackDown a couple of weeks ago. And if you've never taken your kid to a wrestling show before, they start to cheer for something. They don't even know what they're cheering for. Nope. But like they have fun with it. I mean, he was sitting there watching some of the moves and like the expression on his face. Like it's hard to replicate that. But it's a memory that they're going to have for a long time. I remember going to the Armory in Breathitt County back in the day when the guys would come out, and again, there's heels, there's faces, there's it's not. If you don't follow along, you won't maybe understand the storylines, but do yourself a favor right now. If you plan on coming out this Saturday, go over to the YouTube channel for Appalachian Mountain Wrestling and kind of get used to the characters now, because when you go there on Saturday, you'll understand why Ace and why Wes Barker are having their fight. Like there's a story behind that, and it's always cool to follow along. If you like watching Days of Our Lives or Grey's Anatomy, obviously it's weekly episodes. This is a weekly episodic show that if you don't follow along, you're not going to understand it. But do yourself a favor right now. Go over to the YouTube channel and start to watch some of the shows over the last few weeks and see how some of these matches kind of came about.
That's right. Get caught up. And like Mike's saying, even if you don't know what's going on, you come there, you can feel the energy in the environment. It's hard to believe, but I had multiple people whenever it was last time in Urban come up, grown men, teary-eyed, just to watch me. I mean, I get chills just talking about it. It's crazy in the environment. And the thing is like you get the same type of action and production that you would at these big WWE shows, but you don't have to take out a second mortgage in order to go. You can get your whole family and spend maybe $50, and you're going to have a great time versus $400, $500.
Well, and this goes to a good cause too. You're not putting dollars into a millionaire's pocket. You're supporting the Estill County football team and a big fundraiser there. Now, I know you, before we let you go, you're doing some big things. This week is your first. You're doing some basketball trainings over there too.
I am,
So, how can folks, if they're seeing this and they want to, kind of get their kids involved in basketball, or if they're already playing basketball, they want to learn some good tricks. Chris was a heck of a shooter as well. So, we'll talk about that.
So, I never really inspired to be a basketball coach, but now my kids are getting into the sport. Dad, will you be my coach? Sure. And I've got connected to these kids through that, and I've really enjoyed it. So me and my buddy Brandon Morris, what we want to do is kind of give back to the community. So on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, Tuesday being the younger kids, so we do 1st through 3rd, and then we do 4th through 5th, 6 and 7, 7, 8 p.m. And then on Thursdays, we do 6 to 7 p.m. middle school kids. What we're doing is basically just a skills camp. It's 100% free. It's at Central Office in Estill County, Kentucky. You don't have to sign up or anything. You do have to sign a waiver thing because we are using the school's gym. But it's 100% free, so if you have kids that aren't really into baseball, as we're transitioning to baseball season, they still want to play basketball, it's a great opportunity to get in there and, stay sharpening up their skills, learn, improve. That's all we want to do, give back to the community. And
you got some good athletes there. I know Brandon still plays ball pretty regularly. I'm a little too old for that now. I know that he's competing in that Crown Legacy League. Are you doing that? Are you playing that?
I wanted to, but between the kids and wrestling, I don't have. If there was 8 days a week, maybe, but since there's only 7, I'll stick to wrestling and coaching.
All right, folks, listen, right now, go to the Appalachian Mountain Wrestling Facebook page, get your tickets there, reach out to Ace Carmichael on Facebook, and you can get your tickets for this Saturday. It's Off the Rails, Appalachian Mountain Wrestling House Party, and it'll be a lot of fun this Saturday. There you go, the Prospector Wes Barker versus All-In Ace Carmichael. It'll be a lot of fun. Get your tickets now. Bring the family out for a great environment over there in Estill County. Ace, thank you for coming stopping by with us, and I'll make sure that's in some extra money with the kids this week. They can get some tickets to be there on Saturday night.
Save you some money.
There you go. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back. When we come back, it's bracket time. Garrett Stearns will join me, and we'll break down our brackets on who you got your bracket filled out yet?
I haven't even looked at it.
So, I hadn't until this morning, but I've got it now. So we'll break our brackets down when we come back and close out the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
You know what they say. Every great season starts with a strong lineup. Neat agility, the Trailblazer cuts through traffic like a wide receiver in the red zone. Power, the Silverado handles work and tailgates like a linebacker on a mission. And if you're ready to go electric, the Equinox EV has the range to go all the way. No matter your game plan, Jack Burford Chevrolet has the vehicle that suits your drive. Stop in, suit up, and let's kick off your next adventure.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Cub Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now still in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
It's almost that time. The madness, the brackets, the buzzer beaters. And 100.7 Coyote Country is bringing it back bigger than ever. Get ready for the 100.7 Coyote Country Free Bracket Challenge, presented by Bishop Small Engine Repair, Bear Aesthetics, and Apollo Pizza and Beer Emporium. Here's what's on the line. Chances to win cash prizes of $1,000, $5,000, even $50,000. Our highest point earner will take home a brand new 65-inch LG TV from Aaron's Rent to Own in Richmond. Brackets open right after the official tournament draw, and you won't have long to fill yours out. So start studying, start planning, start talking trash now. When it goes live, be ready. Details and complete contest rules at WCYOFM.com. 100.7 Coyote Country, where the madness pays.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. No Samantha today, Garrett. So it's not as much fun. I can't poke fun at you. We get along. You know, Samantha and I, we've been doing this show for so long. We're kind of like a grumpy old married couple. But, you know, I think when you look at you joining us here, obviously enjoyed having you on the show last week. And today we're going to break down our brackets. I don't know about you. Okay, are you a big college basketball fan?
Honestly, I'm probably not as big of a college basketball fan as I used to be.
Yeah, same.
I mean, I still watch it a lot, and I still keep up with it, but especially that early part of the season where you still kind of have the end of football.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me to get into it then, but I get into it during March. I'll watch all the NCAA tournament games.
And it's a lot of fun. Like, even if, you know, just seeing the upsets and the excitement that comes with the NCAA tournament and its return. And with the return of the bracket, also returns the bracket challenge. So 100.7 The Coyote, our media partner, is hosting the March into Madness free bracket challenge. Enter for free and fill out your bracket right now at our website, WCYOFM.com. You can head over there. Garrett and I have our brackets filled out today. We're going to run through those here in just a few minutes. But you can play for your chance to win big prizes, including a new 65-inch Smart TV from Aaron's Rent to Own in Richmond, and cash prizes of up to $50,000. You can submit your picks no later than 11:30 on Thursday, March 19th, and you can see official rules for more details. Only one bracket per person, and this is powered by Apollo Pizza and Beer Emporium, Bishop Small Engine Repair, and Bear Aesthetics, and of course our friends over at 100.7 The Coyote. So head over right now, WCYOFM.com, and fill your bracket out for free. Put your information in after you're done, and we'll see who takes home that TV that I won just a couple of years ago. I got to take the TV home, and it's cool to win. It's cool to be a part of this and have the fun with it and do all the things that come with the bracket challenge. But as we go through our brackets today, you can see how yours compare. But I do, before we dive into the actual, like, looking at our brackets, Garrett, I want to look at some of the stats and some of the numbers inside of the tournament. Last year, all four number one seeds reached the Final Four for the second time. And some feel it could happen again this year, as the top seeds are pretty good once again. History does say otherwise, though. We have never even had more than two number one seeds make the Final Four in back-to-back years. So, you know, I feel like with the day and age of college basketball, with the NIL and with the transfer portal, the parity is very broad, but it's still top-heavy. There's about 10 to 12 teams that I feel like if those 10, maybe even 10 to 15 teams won the tournament, you wouldn't be shocked. And I'll be honest with you, even Kentucky. I mean, I would not be surprised if Kentucky won the whole thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went out in the first round.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think this year will tell a lot about the day and age of college basketball, the era that we're in, because statistically speaking, last year was the chalkiest tournament of all time. So if that continues this year, that could be a trend about this day and age. But yeah, I think 2023 was 3 years ago, was the craziest tournament ever, the most upsets ever. So I don't know. I don't know if last year was an outlier or if that's just a trend of what we're seeing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this year in comparison to that.
If you're a gambler and you look at the spreads this year are bigger than I've seen in recent years. And I didn't look at all of them, but some of the ones I've seen, normally the 1 and the 16 seed and the 2 and the 15, there's bigger spreads there. But you're seeing bigger spreads even for like a 4-13 matchup or something than you normally might see. So I think that'll be interesting to see. But we'll start things out here. We'll look at our brackets and who we have going all the way. We're going to start in the East region with my bracket. And, of course, this is the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, the Duke Blue Devils. Everybody loves to hate on Duke, but even after Coach K left the program, John Shire has just picked up right where he left off. I've got the Blue Devils going all the way, winning the region with Ohio State, St. John's, Kansas, South Florida. I've got South Florida beating Louisville. Louisville without their top player. I could see them losing in the first round. Michigan State, they always seem to be right there. UCLA and UConn. I've got UConn going all the way into the final game there in the region with Duke coming out and going into the Final Four. But a couple of upsets there. But I do think St. John's also wins a couple of games. And Kansas, I feel like it's been a weird year for Kansas.
It has. It has.
With their best player, the Peterson guy, who could be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, I feel like it's been a very, very interesting year for Bill Self, who's one of those older coaches, kind of an old school guy, trying to get his first taste, I feel like, of what it's like with one of these guys that, wants to go to the NBA and is not really committed to Kansas, and they've kind of had a struggle this year.
Yeah, I think what's interesting with Kansas is the general consensus that I've heard on them is they're almost unbeatable inside of Allen Fieldhouse, but outside of that, anybody in the nation can beat them. That's just they've been kind of bipolar. So it'll be interesting to see that, of course, these games will be on a neutral floor. So.
Exactly. Now, I've got Duke beating UConn to go on to the Final Four. My Elite Eight is Duke, St. John, or my Sweet 16 is Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, and UConn. So, again, a lot of those heavier seeds, those lower seeds, making their way deeper into the tournament. As for you, we'll look at Garrett's bracket here in the East region, and you've got Duke going far as well.
Yeah, I got Duke going to just the Sweet 16. So I do have St. John's taking them out. There's a lot of really good teams this year. I think St. John's may have been disrespected with just a 5 seed winning the Big East there, but I didn't want to pick all 4 1 seeds to go to the Final Four. I don't want to spoil too much about some of the other teams I picked, but we'll get to that later. And I thought this is a game I think St. John's could get them. Duke's won a bunch of games in a row, and so you think you have to win 6 straight to win the NCAA tournament. So if you've already won your conference tournament, that's like 9 games to win in a row, which is tough in this day and age. I got TCU over Ohio State. I think those 8-9 games are, flip-flop pretty much. I do like Kansas to at least get past the first round. I do have Louisville beating South Florida. We'll see if Michael Brown plays or not, and that's been kind of a mess this year, so we'll just see what happens with that. I do think Louisville's talented enough at least, but South Florida has been pretty good this year. And then the rest of the chalk down in the first round, Michigan State, UCLA, and then UConn. And as I mentioned, I got St. John's knocking off Duke. I got Michigan State knocking off Connecticut in the Sweet 16 after they both take care of business, I think, in the second round. And then what I think would be a really fun Elite Eight matchup here with Michigan State and St. John's. I got Michigan State winning. I think Tom Izzo's due another Final Four run. He's kind of a master in March Madness. I think they got eliminated in the Elite Eight last year. So they can get past Connecticut and get to that Elite Eight game. Even if they have to play Duke, I feel like they can get over the hump.
Well, guys like Kelvin Sampson and Bill Self, Calipari even, Rick Pitino, the coach there, Tom Izzo, as you talked about, guys that are battle-tested, they're still trying to figure out the portal and the NIL and things, but you've got Michigan State, I've got Duke coming out of the East region. We'll now go over to my South region, and this is an interesting one to me because I feel like Florida did show some signs of, yes, they're a really good basketball team, but I think Vanderbilt might have kind of showed a weakness in that win over them in the SEC tournament. I've got Florida and Vandy matching up again when they get to the Sweet 16. I've got Illinois and Houston there, but I think Houston is a really, really good basketball team. After losing in the championship game last year, I think they're going to be hungry to get back there again, and I've got Houston coming out of the South region. I do have Florida beating Vanderbilt. I feel like that loss to them in the SEC tournament kind of wakes them up, and I feel like Florida makes a deep run, but I do have Houston beating them and going on to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think that's a great prediction. We'll take a look at mine now. Michael, mine's actually pretty similar in this region. So going down the top there, I got Florida winning. I got Iowa over Clemson. Shout out Matt Riddell, one of our studio guys. He's an Iowa fan, so I'm sure he's excited that the Hawkeyes are back in the tournament. I think Vanderbilt is susceptible to an upset. But McNeese upset Clemson last year, so I don't think they're going to get 2 upsets in a row. So I'm sticking with Vanderbilt. I got Troy over Nebraska. It's fun to pick a 13 over 4. There's usually one of those. And interesting thing about Nebraska is they're the only Power 5 conference school who's never won an NCAA tournament game in their school's history.
Yeah,
so
and they're a high seed too.
And they are. So this would be the year to do it. Some say they might be destined to do it, but I think that's one where if it is close in the second half, that might be an extra amount of pressure that kind of builds in there. I got North Carolina over VCU. Again, this is like a popular one that like a lot of people are picking, but maybe it's just me, and I think we'll find out a lot about it as the tournament goes on. But I think North Carolina, just the talent gap has gotten so big between those 6 and 11s compared to what it used to be. So I think even with the injuries, North Carolina still got enough. And then I got Illinois, St. Mary's, and Houston. All favorites there to finish the first round. And then I got I believe the same Sweet 16 as you did over here. Florida, Vanderbilt, Houston, and Illinois. And then like you had, I got Florida and Houston advancing to the Elite 8 with Houston winning. I think they avenged that national championship loss. So
see, I've got VCU actually beating North Carolina in the first round there. And the reasoning for that, without Caleb Wilson, I think VCU's got a really good defense. And, I feel like there's got, when you feel out these things, a lot of luck is involved because nobody knows, obviously. But you're going to have to pick some upsets along the way. You can't just go 1 through 8 all the way down, then 1 through 4, and then 1, 2, and then go on with all the 1 seeds. You've got to try to find a couple of those. And I think there will be some. I do think that once you get into, the Sweet 16, I don't think you'll see as many upsets. But I do think that there's probably 10 to 15 teams that when they get hot or if the matchup's right, they could win the entire thing. So it'll be interesting to see how those come out. Do want us to talk about some of the first and second round matchups, though, before we go on into our next commercial break. 6 of the past 7 at-large teams with 14-plus losses to reach the first round won their first round game. The number 11 seed Texas is the only team that fits this description in this year's field. They begin in the first 4 versus North Carolina State tomorrow night. At least one top 4 seed has lost in the first round in 15 of the past 17 tournaments. That's something to keep in mind as well. Last year was one of the 2 years during this stretch that it didn't happen. Again, as you said, could that be an outlier, or is that something that we're going to see more often as we go into the future?
Yeah, that's interesting.
We have never had 2 consecutive tournaments in which every top 4 seed won in the first round. And 2 years ago, Jack Golke's 3-point barrage helped Oakland knock out number 3 seed Kentucky that year. So that's it's hard for Kentucky fans to relive that, but I feel like there's always that one player we all fall in love with. As a Kentucky fan, we didn't want it to come against us, but Golke was that guy. You remember Pitt Snoggle for, I think it was West Virginia. You've had Steph Curry, obviously made that deep run. There are guys like Jimmer Fredette, Adam Morrison back in the day. There's always, I feel like, one team or one player that fans just fall in love with, that Cinderella run. Obviously, last year we didn't really, I don't remember who it was last year.
It really wasn't one
exactly.
last year.
So we'll see if that changes again going into a new bracket. Again, don't forget to go over to our website, WCYOFM.com, our media partner there, with the free bracket challenge. And as Garrett and I come back, we'll look at the West and the Midwest regions. We'll break those down for you when we come back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
You know what they say. Every great season starts with a strong lineup. Neat agility, the Trailblazer cuts through traffic like a wide receiver in the red zone. Power, the Silverado handles work and tailgates like a linebacker on a mission. And if you're ready to go electric, the Equinox EV has the range to go all the way. No matter your game plan, Jack Burford Chevrolet has the vehicle that suits your drive. Stop in, suit up, and let's kick off your next adventure.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Code Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now Steel in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
It's almost that time. The madness, the brackets, the buzzer beaters. And 100.7 Coyote Country is bringing it back bigger than ever. Get ready for the 100.7 Coyote Country Free Bracket Challenge, presented by Bishop Small Engine Repair, Bear Aesthetics, and Apollo Pizza and Beer Emporium. Here's what's on the line. Chances to win cash prizes of $1,000, $5,000, even $50,000. Our highest point earner will take home a brand new 65-inch LG TV from Aaron's Rent to Own in Richmond. Brackets open right after the official tournament draw, and you won't have long to fill yours out. So start studying, start planning, start talking trash now. When it goes live, be ready. Details and complete contest rules at WCYOFM.com. 100.7 Coyote Country, where the madness pays.
We're back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Garrett Stearns, Michael Watkins here with you on a Monday night in Richmond. We actually had planned on doing the Madison Central versus Madison Southern baseball game, but Mother Nature and the snow had different plans for us. Did you get out and about this weekend at all? The weather was just perfect.
Oh, over the weekend, yeah, it was great.
It was amazing. And then today we get this. I mean, I knew it was coming, but it's weird to go from sunny and 70 degrees to 30 degrees and snow on the ground.
Oh my gosh, now that's Kentucky for you. I was walking around campus today, and the wind and the snow was blowing right in my face on what was a pretty long walk from my classroom back to my car. So that wasn't too fun.
Well, the West region is an interesting one as we continue to fill our brackets out here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Again, reminding you can fill out your bracket for free, WCYOFM.com. And play big, win big. You can also scan the QR code there on your screen now and sign up through that as well. Fill out your bracket like Garrett and I did earlier today. The West region has Arizona as the #1 seed in that bracket. And Garrett, Arizona's not had a lot of tournament success.
No, they haven't. They've been in the tournament in high seeds in recent memory, but I don't believe they've gotten past the Sweet 16 in a while. So the past couple years, that seems to be a round that's been really troublesome for them.
Yeah, and you look at the bracket or the region that they're in, it's an interesting one. There are some teams that I feel like could make deep runs. I feel like Gonzaga, BYU, Arkansas, Villanova, they're a team that's, got a program. They're a blue blood type team. But I've got Arizona going to the Sweet 16 to compete against Arkansas. And if you can see there on your screen, I've actually got Arkansas going all the way to the Final Four. And the reason for this, I feel like Kentucky fans have had such a bad year.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's just all going to culminate with John Calipari and a superstar point guard making another deep run into the NCAA tournament. I know it's been a while since he got there, and he's notorious for choking. but I just feel like it's set up from the basketball gods, if you will.
If winning the SEC wasn't enough for
to
UK
pour the
fans.
salt into the Kentucky basketball wound that is John Calipari, and I think they make a deep run. I think BYU makes a deep run. I've got them losing to Purdue in the Sweet 16, going to the Elite Eight, where Arkansas beats Purdue. And I have Arkansas coming out of the West region. I've got Arizona, Arkansas, BYU, and Purdue in my Sweet 16. Arkansas and Purdue there in the Elite Eight, with Arkansas coming out as the champion of that region.
All right, I like it. We'll take a look at mine now. You mentioned Arizona has struggled in the tournament at recent memory. I think this is really set up to finally be their year.
Yeah, I mean they're with the new conference, like the new conference setup.
Yes,
that was a brutal conference, and they made their way through it and win the whole thing.
The new Big 12 is tough.
It is,
and to win that was very impressive. So I have them winning the whole region, but I have them getting past Long Island to start, and then Villanova. I think Wisconsin versus High Point and Arkansas versus Hawaii are interesting ones to look at potentially for upsets, but I am going to lean towards Wisconsin. I've seen a lot of people picking High Point. You see they're 30-4. That's almost, I feel like, one of those ones where it's a little too obvious.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's those two obvious upset picks. I got Arkansas beating Hawaii. With the talent they have, I don't think they're going to get upset in the first round. We'll talk about the second here in a minute. I do have the winner of Texas and NC State, whoever it may be, beating BYU. I had to pick 111 over 6 because that usually happens, and usually you see it didn't happen last year though, so we'll see if that trend continues. But usually one of the schools who plays in the first 4 does then go on to win a first round game. I think you mentioned that.
At least one 11 seed has made the Sweet 16 in 8 of the past 11 tournaments. Multiple 11 seeds have reached the second weekend in 5 of the past 14. So there is some storylines there with an 11 seed making a potential deep run in the tournament, either winning at least one game or 2.
Yeah, so I have the winner of that knocking off BYU, who's dealt with some injuries too. Got Gonzaga winning. I like Miami over Missouri there. I think Missouri's a little seeded a little too high. They were expected to be in the first 4 and got a 10. I got Purdue defeating Queens there, who won the A7, Eastern Kentucky's conference. Looking at the second round, I think Arizona gets past Villanova. I like Wisconsin over Arkansas. Basically, Michael, I have the complete opposite philosophy of you in this, in that I think winning the SEC, winning 26 games is just too good for Coach Cal. I think he's due another tournament choke, but we'll see. I mean, I think it is going to go one way or the other, though. I think it's either going to be an early exit or a Final Four appearance for Arkansas. Nothing in between.
Well, and I think that's what Cal does, though. I mean, and that's the thing I think that is so much fun about filling out these brackets. We've got so many different, but I feel like you could be right and I could be right. That's the thing.
We don't know.
we don't know. But I feel like when you look at these things and you can try to break it down, I mean, it's complete chaos most of the time. But you've got Arizona coming out of the West region. I've got Arkansas making it to the Final Four there. And we'll now move over to the Midwest region. We'll look at my Midwest region with Michigan being the number 1 seed, coming out of the Big Ten and doing a lot of good things, and what they were able to do this year with just a very, I feel like, experienced team. Winning their conference and doing the things that they did there. Michigan comes in as the 1 seed, a 31-3 overall record. And I feel like they've kind of been flying under the radar a little bit. You hear about Duke a lot. You hear about Arizona a lot. I feel like some of these big freshman names with Caleb Wilson, Devansa, Brown at Louisville. I feel like you don't hear about Michigan as much, but they've quietly just been doing their thing all year long.
They have, and I think they're just so solid all the way around, which makes them very tough, and they're very good in the paint. Too. They got some big size, which is super important. Usually with NCAA tournament teams, guard play can maybe carry you a game or 2, but you're going to need some really strong bigs inside if you really want to get over the hump.
So I've got Michigan coming out, and I have them defeating Iowa State, the 1-2 matchup there in the Elite Eight. I've got all the upper seeds 1 through 4. But now Alabama, some big news coming out today. Their second leading scorer, Holloway, was arrested for drug charges this morning, and he has now been kicked off of campus and will not be with the team during the NCAA tournament. That's big news for Alabama. I still think they're good enough to win a game or 2. I do have Akron actually defeating Texas Tech in the first round, so I think Bama's path, it kind of clears up there. They have to beat a 13 seed in Hofstra, who's a really good defensive team, and they have to beat Texas or Akron in my bracket to get to the Sweet 16, but I think that's where it ends, and I think Michigan knocks them out. I do have Kentucky beating Santa Clara. I've heard a lot of noise today that is a tough matchup. It probably is, but I think the Cats at least win one game. I do have Iowa State beating them to go to the Sweet 16, and again, I have Michigan and Iowa State in the Elite Eight with Michigan coming out of the region and going to the Final Four.
Yeah, Michael, I got some pretty similar predictions on this one. We seem to think alike on this region. I do have Michigan getting to the Sweet 16 pretty easily, although I do like St. Louis. I think they've had a great year in the A-10, and so I got them beating Georgia. I do also have Akron beating Texas Tech. I think that's a 12-5 that I like. You got to pick a 12/5. That one almost always happens. I think it did happen once last year. So Akron's, I think it's their third straight year in the tournament, so they've been close last couple years in terms of upsets. I think they finally get over the hump against a Texas Tech team that's kind of injured and limping into the tournament. Again, that's big news out of Alabama. Their second leading scorer going to be off the team, but I think they can get by Hofstra and then still get by Akron. That would be a favorable path, certainly for them. I got Tennessee and Virginia setting up what I think would be a great matchup in the second round there. And I do have Kentucky as well, getting past Santa Clara. Saw an interesting stat today. It said, this might be why some Kentucky fans are a little scared. Kentucky lost to Gonzaga by 35 in the one game they played. Santa Clara played Gonzaga 3 times, did lose all 3 times, but lost by a combined 31. Yeah. So it's interesting, but I do think the Cats can get over the hump. This is the first time that Santa Clara has been in the tournament in 30 years. Steve Nash was their point guard the last time they were in the tournament, which is kind of neat. And then I really like Iowa State. I think Iowa State is playing great right now, so I think that's just going to be too much for Kentucky. I got Tennessee knocking off Virginia. Sometimes you'll see a 6/3. And then Michigan over Alabama. I like Iowa State over Tennessee. And then I think Michigan versus Iowa State would just be a terrific Elite Eight matchup. But I do, like you, have Michigan then moving on to the Final Four.
Yeah, and I think Iowa State is an interesting team to me. I feel like that team, that program, has just been solid for so long. And, when do they take that jump and make, a deep run to the Elite Eight is still a big deal. But again, I think Michigan is just so well-rounded that I think the Wolverines come out of the Midwest region. A couple other stats for you before we take our next commercial break. Since the tournament expanded to 68 teams in 2011, there have been just as many 15 seeds that have reached the Sweet 16 as 9 seeds and 12 seeds. There were 4 of them. 4 15 seeds have made the Sweet 16 since 2011, and there has also been 4 9 seeds and 4 12 seeds. So again, that kind of shows you the parity that was. We're kind of getting back to not as many recently, but it is interesting that there's been 4 15 seeds make the Sweet 16 in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. You saw in the kind of around COVID there, it happened a lot with Oral Roberts, and then St. Peter's after that. I think Princeton took out Arizona a couple years ago, so it'll be interesting to see. I just don't see it this year because I think this year the 2s are just so strong.
They are.
But what do you think about Miami, Ohio, though? We hadn't talked about that. They're in that region. Do you think they should have got in? That's a big talk right now.
I do think they should have gotten in. They deserve to get in.
I agree.
But I do like the fact that they have to kind of play their way into the actual tournament. I'm not again. Either way, I think fans would have been fine. Like if they had gotten a 12 seed and not had to have played their way in. But I feel like they deserved it. They needed to be in this tournament. They were a great story throughout the year. And we've seen like Auburn, or some of the teams that were left out. Are we that upset about Auburn? Auburn fans are, but like as a basketball fan. Are you more excited to see Miami of Ohio, who did their thing throughout the entire year, or Auburn, who might have won a game, but who also might have gotten beat in the first round?
Yeah, and I think Auburn's 17-16. Yeah, they got 16 losses, and I think at the end of the day, I heard they were 4-13 against what they call quad 1. So in a sense, I feel like they've had their chance. Miami of Ohio's 31-1. At the end of the day, they play who they play. So why not give the Red Hawks a chance?
And Miami of Ohio, I think they were the type of team that whoever won that conference tournament, those teams knew the only way we make it to the big dance is by winning the conference tournament. I think Miami, Ohio kind of felt like even if they didn't win, they were still going to make it. So it meant a little bit more in that conference tournament to some of those other teams as opposed to Miami of Ohio, who, again, did still get into the big dance. Talked about the number 2 seeds. All 4 number 2 seeds have reached the Sweet 16 only 3 times in the past 28 tournaments. In none of those 3 instances did more than 2 number 2 seeds make the Elite Eight. So you can expect at least one or two of them to get knocked off at some point in the tournament. The 1 seeds, though, we do expect them, I think, to make a deep run.
Yep.
We'll step aside for our final commercial break, and when we come back, Garrett and I will look at our Final Four predictions. I've got Duke and Houston, and then Arkansas and Michigan.
I got Michigan State playing Houston, and then I'll have Arizona playing Michigan.
There you go. So we'll look at that, and we'll give you our predictions on the Final Four. Don't forget, you can fill out your bracket right now. If you're sitting at home watching us, if you're out and about in the radio, you got us on the radio, be sure to go over to WCYOFM.com, fill out your bracket for free, and get started up there at WCYOFM.com. We'll look at our Final Four predictions when we come back. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're live here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
You know what they say. Every great season starts with a strong lineup. Neat agility, the Trailblazer cuts through traffic like a wide receiver in the red zone. Power, the Silverado handles work and tailgates like a linebacker on a mission. And if you're ready to go electric, the Equinox EV has the range to go all the way. No matter your game plan, Jack Burford Chevrolet has the vehicle that suits your drive. Stop in, suit up, and let's kick off your next adventure.
We would like to invite you to join our family at Bishop's Small Engine Repair.
Outdoor Power has become a family tradition, with 3 generations here bringing you years of experience.
We will help you find the best selection of outdoor power equipment from Code Cadet, Grasshopper, DeWalt, Makita, Echo, Shindawa, and now Steel in our Georgetown store.
Or bring your equipment into our service department. We will keep it running for years to come.
And as with all families, we have to keep Mama happy. So come on in and see us at Bishop's Small Engine Repair in Richmond and in Georgetown.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills. When you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
It's almost that time. The madness, the brackets, the buzzer beaters. And 100.7 Coyote Country is bringing it back bigger than ever. Get ready for the 100.7 Coyote Country Free Bracket Challenge, presented by Bishop Small Engine Repair, Bear Aesthetics, and Apollo Pizza and Beer Emporium. Here's what's on the line. Chances to win cash prizes of $1,000, $5,000, even $50,000. Our highest point earner will take home a brand new 65-inch LG TV from Aaron's Rent to Own in Richmond. Brackets open right after the official tournament draw, and you won't have long to fill yours out. So start studying, start planning, start talking trash now. When it goes live, be ready. Details and complete contest rules at WCYOFM.com. 100.7 Coyote Country, where the madness pays.
We're back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Michael Watkins, Garrett Stearns to wrap things up with you here. And Garrett wanted to look at our contest page once again. The madness has returned. 100.7 The Coyote, our media partner, is hosting the March into Madness Free Bracket Challenge. Enter for free and fill out your bracket now at our website. That's the WCYOFM.com. You can play for your chance to win big prizes, including a new 65-inch smart TV from Aaron's Rent to Own in Richmond, and cash prizes of up to $50,000. Picks must be submitted no later than 11:30 on Thursday, March 19th. That's right about the time that Kentucky will tip off at 12:15. I think they're the first game there on Thursday. So you can fill out your brackets until then, and you can see official rules for more details, powered by Apollo Pizza and Beer Emporium. Bishop Small Engine Repair, Bear Aesthetics, and 100.7 The Coyote. I think Kentucky plays Friday, not Thursday.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday at
But you are right. It is the first game of that day. Yep. So
let's look at our Final Four. And again, when you're filling this thing out, what was your – because we both kind of admitted we're not huge college basketball junkies. What was your strategy in filling this bracket out?
Yeah, so I do usually look at, like, the Final Four first.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of, like, okay, who's making the Final Four out of this? I did look. A 1 seed has won the national championship 7 of the last 8 years. Yeah. So that's a pretty good pick if you're picking a national championship, is to pick a 1 seed. And all 4 1 seeds have been really solid this year, especially those top 3 with Duke, Arizona, and Michigan. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I got Arizona and Michigan both in my Final Four, but I didn't want to go all 4 1s. You know, that did happen last year, but. It's just not fun. But I will be honest about this. This is probably the chalkiest bracket I've ever predicted.
Yeah,
I like to go pretty big on upsets, and I've had some luck with that in the past. I think it was 2022. North Carolina made the national championship as an 8 seed, and I did have that. So, but I just didn't see it this year.
Only 3 times in the modern era have we had a Final Four without any number 1 seeds. Yeah. It happened just 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, in 2023. It also happened in 2011 and 2006. Last year snapped a streak of 14 straight Final Fours with at least one team seeded 4th or worse, and Villanova won the title in 2016 as a 2 seed. Just one number 2 seed has made it to the championship game in the past 12 tournaments. That was Villanova. So
yeah,
it's interesting. So, but you talked about your 4. Break down yours. We'll go with Garrett's first gauge here in the Final Four, and you said you've got Duke, Houston, Michigan, and Arizona.
Yeah,
Michigan State.
Michigan State. Yes. So I got Houston defeating Michigan State to advance to the national championship. Of course, Houston lost in the national championship last year, and then I think Arizona-Michigan would just be a terrific matchup. That could go either way. I end up leaning towards Michigan because, in a sense, they're not on as long of a win streak as Arizona. Yeah. Arizona won the Big 12. Michigan actually got upset by Purdue in the Big 10 championship game, which, in a sense, I think helps them. I think it's just so hard to win so many games in a row. A lot of times you'll see the team that wins the national championship didn't win their conference tournament. It did happen last year at Florida, but in the past that's gone like that sometimes. So I am leaning Michigan over Arizona. I'm not a Michigan fan or anything, but Michigan versus Michigan State in the final would be kind of interesting, but I got Houston defeating them. I don't think we're going to get something that cool. So Houston versus Michigan in the national championship, and I do have Michigan winning. Again, it's hard for me to pick against a 1 seed for the national champion. I think it's going to be a terrific game. I would hate it for Houston if that happens because they lost in that game last year, but that has happened before. Butler, 2010, 2011, lost back-to-back years in the national championship game, so I unfortunately have that happening to Houston, but 67-64, I think it'd be a terrific game. I think the Final Four is in Houston this year, I want to say, so that would be a nice advance with the Cougars too. But again, you really got to eye that one line for the national champion, and I got Michigan winning it all. Yeah,
you talked about the 1s and the 2 seeds. 14 of the past 18 champions have been 1 seeds. And since the committee began naming the overall number 1 seed in 2004, only 4 of 21 have won the title, while 8 of them lost in the Sweet 16 or earlier. So that could spell doom for Duke, who I have in the Final Four. I have Duke taking on Houston, and I have Arkansas facing Michigan in the Final Four. If you look at my bracket, again, just one number 2 seed has made it to the championship game in the past 12 tournaments. I think Houston, you think Houston will kind of spell that and at least make it to the championship game. And I actually have the Cougars defeating Michigan. We both have the same championship game.
How about that?
I have Houston winning. You have Michigan winning. And I have kind of around the same score. I have Houston winning 71-66 in the championship game. But again, I just think that it's been 8 consecutive tourneys without a number 2 seed reaching the title game. That is the longest drought ever. Houston with some added motivation, considering they lost in the championship game last year. Kelvin Sampson, a very veteran coach. He's been around many programs. He's led some good programs. And he's been, with this Houston team, he has kind of led them back to the promised land. Obviously last year to that championship game, but they've been very good under him. And I think they get the job done this year, winning the national championship 71-66. to 66.
Yeah, you got to love the way Houston guards.
Yeah.
Their defense is just terrific year in and year out, and you mentioned it, Sampson does a terrific job. But how about that? We both have Houston, Michigan in the national championship, and we didn't talk about this at all before.
We did not.
That's maybe smart minds think alike or something like that is the saying. I don't know.
Well, I think this is so much fun to do. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's bragging rights, and I'm hoping Samantha can take time from getting her petties and manis and her hair did and her Vegas trip to fill out a bracket herself. And just to try to, it's good for the next few weeks for us to break down the brackets, look at them, see who's doing good. And that's the thing about our bracket challenge. Right now, you can see if you can beat Garrett and I.
Yeah.
Go over to the website, WCYOFM.com, fill out your bracket, and you can compete against Garrett. You can compete against me. The TV that I won 2 years ago, it's a nice TV. You could have the chance to win that, a 65-inch flat screen TV, courtesy of Aaron's, or up to $50,000 cash if you can get a perfect bracket. So all that stuff right now, the details are on our website, WCYOFM.com. And some other tournament news, postseason news. The EKU women's basketball team, Garrett, they did make it to I think the WBIT,
yes,
the women's basketball invitational tournament. They'll play Utah in the first round, and I think that'll be played at Alumni Coliseum. It'll be in Richmond,
Okay.
so
that'll
be a big
That'd be
deal.
great.
I want to make sure that's wrapped. That's coming up on Thursday night. The women's basketball team for EKU, who won their conference in the regular season, lost in the first round, but they will be playing on Thursday versus Utah. That'll be a big deal. That'll be fun.
They've had a good season, 24-8, regular season conference chance. That was a tough tournament loss.
To Austin Peay.
Yeah.
Who couldn't hit a shot.
They were 0 for 23 from 3, and they won the game. But
That's crazy.
It happens. It's March, so but you got to commend Greg Todd for the job he's done at EKU. So
that game will be at Alumni Coliseum. So pretty cool that Eastern, despite being the 8th seed and playing the 1 seed Utah, that probably means Utah is either A, being used as the NCAA tournament potentially, or maybe there's a concert scheduled for that night, whatever the case might be. Utah, that's a long drive. And we've seen it for football, with EKU football having to go play a couple of teams in Utah over the last few years. Now it's Utah coming to play EKU on Thursday night. So a cool opportunity there to watch the Lady Colonels in action one more time at Alumni Coliseum and Baptist Health Arena.
Yeah, and I mean, that's Utah's a Power 5 conference squad of the Big 12, so certainly a big opportunity. I know Eastern's, I don't think they have a Power 5 win on the season. They've been right there. I want to say they beat Xavier in an exhibition, but they played Arizona close, played Louisville close for a half too. Who's they're a top 4 seed. I didn't look exactly what they were, but the Lady Colonel's been right there, so maybe they can get a big win here. All
right, so before we go off the air, let's make one prediction for this tournament. Okay, to me, I think Darius Acuff, again, I've got Arkansas going to the Final Four. I think he puts his name in the hat. I mean, we've heard him talked about a lot. I've seen him anywhere from maybe the 6th pick to the 14th pick. I think he solidifies himself as a top 5 pick in the NBA draft, and I think he goes bonkers in this tournament. And I think Cal will just, he'll just be Swaggy Cal once again. I don't know why. Cal. With the amount of complaining I've seen from Kentucky fans this year, I don't think it gets any better. And again, I'm rooting for Kentucky. I want Kentucky to make a deep run. I'm a Kentucky fan. But I think there's just something in the water this year that Calipari, after winning the SEC tournament, and remember what he said, peed off or peed on, I think Cats fans will be peed off after Calipari and Acuff make a deep run this year.
Yeah, so my bold prediction is going to be that not a single double-digit seed makes the Sweet 16. I think for a long time that's been a streak. I can't remember exactly how many years, but I just don't see it with any of the double-digit seeds. Maybe it's Miami, Ohio as an 11. Maybe they can get there. But even if one pulls off an upset, which I think will happen in a couple cases you saw in my predictions, I don't see that double-digit seed. I don't see that team getting to the Sweet 16 this year. So that's my bold prediction.
I think, so here we go. 9 of the 11 number 15 seeds to win in the first round, finish in the top 2 in their conference standings. I don't think anybody's from there is going to be making the deep run. Some of the back here. Okay, most Sweet 16 appearances. A double-digit seed has advanced to the Sweet 16 in each of the past 17 tournaments and 38 of 40 overall, but there have been fewer in recent years. So you're saying this year none of them
yes,
make it?
I'm saying this is the year to break it. I think last year Arkansas was the only one that made it to the Sweet 16, and they were a 10, and they pulled off an upset over St. John's. But even then, that's another power conference school who had good talent that just struggled for a bit in regular season with Arkansas last year. So I think this is gonna be the year that streak breaks. That's my bold prediction.
We'll see what happens, folks. Take part in it. Fill out your bracket right now for free. WCYOFM.com. For Garrett Stearns, I'm Michael Watkins. We'll see you next time on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.